Have you ever been so afraid of falling at something that you decided not to try it at all? Or have you tried multiple times to overcome the fear of failure? Many of us have probably experienced this at one time or another. The fear of falling can be immobilizing. It can cause us to do nothing and therefore stops you to move forward. But when we allow fear to stop our forward progress in life, we are likely to miss some great opportunities along the way. So in this lesson we'll examine fear of failure, what it means, what causes it, and how to overcome it to enjoy true success in work and in life. Hello friends, Yasmin here from the channel My Education My Power, and today we'll discuss the chapter Two Stories About Flying Part 1, His First Flight, from the book First Flight Class 10. Let's know some interesting fact about the author. Liam O'Flaherty was an Irish novelist and short story writer whose works combine brutal naturalism, psychological analysis, poetry, and biting satire with an abiding respect for the courage and persisted. He was a keen observer and was interested in sea life. He spent much time on seashore and studied the life of seagulls quite closely. Through this story, the writer conveys the moral of having self-confidence and self-reliance. The parents can support us to a certain extent, but not forever. So we all should try to become independent in our own way. In the first paragraph, once a young seagull who is at the stage of life where he has to learn to fly, but he is very afraid of flying. So the seagull was standing alone on a rock in the sea. His parents taught his sister and two brothers along with the young seagull how to fly and dive for fish. Initially they were too afraid of flying, but later they tried to fly for the first time near the edge of the sea, despite their wings being shorter than the young seagull. All of them succeed except the young seagull. He could not trust his own wings. He gets terrified and scared whenever he sees the huge vast sea and thinks that he could never fly. As a result, he was ashamed and disheartened, and thus went inside the ledge where usually he slept. He could not gather the courage to fly, nor even for trying. He was scolded by his parents for not trying even a single time. Now he has been alone for a day, after he tried a bit, but failed as before, and his parents are busy focusing on his siblings. They help his siblings the master art of flying and diving for food. His older sibling even catches his first fish, which he proudly eating at a rock, while his parents celebrated. That morning his parents taunted him all the way for being a coward. The sun has now risen and he is feeling the heat more than ever because he is empty stomach since the night before. He steps out of his ledge and pretends to sleep on one leg and hide the other one to gain the attention of his family. Still no one notices him. His siblings are sleeping, his father is cleaning their feathers with his beak, and his mother is standing on another plateau eating fish while she notices him. The little seagull becomes mad to see the sight of food because he is very hungry. He loves to tear away fish and scrape his beak now and then. Then he cries in hunger and shouts at his mother, and his mother screams back angrily. But he keeps crying, which soon turns into a joyful scream at the sight of his mother flying towards him with the piece of fish. He gets very excited for the food, but as soon as his mother comes very near to him, suddenly she stops, not too far from him. Out of excitement and hunger, he dives at the fish without realizing for a moment that he was afraid to fly. He closes his eyes and starts flapping his wings with fear. As he opens his eyes, he finds himself flying in the sky. Now he is floating in the sky and his family is cheering him. He has finally defeated his fear. For a moment he was in shock to see himself flying. He could feel the wind against his breast feathers, stomach and his wings. He could feel himself cutting through the air. He was not afraid anymore. He was just a bit nervous, but then his mother accompanied him. The whole family screamed out of excitement, thus celebrating his victory over fear. Once he overcomes his fear, he forgets that he is once afraid of it. He did all those things he once feared. He flies straight over the sea and could see the greenery and the mountains beneath him. He screams out of joy as he enjoys the victory. When he lands, his family lands along with him, as a gesture that they are proud. They are screaming and shouting in excitement in their high-pitched voices. He then goes into the sea where at first he gets scared and thus panicked. He tries escaping but gets tired and weak because of hunger. Thus when he calms down, he starts floating in the sea he is once afraid of. His family is celebrating in excitement and offers him food as praise. Finally, he has overcome his fear and has made his first flight. So my friends, in the story, his first flight highlights the importance of independence, self-belief and confidence, and the need for motivation to attain goals. Necessity is always the mother of invention, but it sometimes needs an initial spark from outside. In this situation, I remember a Chinese proverbs, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Another line from Franklin D. Roosevelt's maxims, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Let's have the summary. In this story, the young seagull poses to be a coward incarnate. His other three elder brothers and sister had already flown. The entire family member boosted him to fly, but he couldn't. One day he mustered up his courage to fly, but all went in vain, and for the same he was harshly punished by his parents. He was left all alone on the ledge starving for 24 hours. He wouldn't dare to fly. He cried with hunger. Mother took final decision to put before him bait. And it worked. He dived for a scrap of fish. Mother was high up in the sky and he was in the open air falling down and down. He opened his wings and found himself flying. This was the way he was taught to make his first flight. Hence, we can say parental encouragement and discipline play a great role in shaping the destiny of the young children. This is all for today. I'll see you again with the second part of this chapter, Two Stories of Flying. You can get the link of the second part of this chapter in the description box. Do subscribe to the channel. Take a very good care of yourself. Bye.